immediately kick the camera as I turn it back on. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome.
Camera that you can still see in this shot. Sorry.
Welcome to Dungeon Duets, the show where we eat bleach and show that we can still survive.
Whoa. There's no eating bleach involved. Is your camera?
Just kidding.
Huh?
Huh?
Do you want me to move this one or do you want to move that one?
Wow, what's wrong?
I can still just barely see it. Aha, there we go. I think I kicked it slightly out of place.
Welcome to Dungeon Duets, the show where we adjust camera angles for an hour.
And somehow people still watch this.
Yeah. That's the amazing part.
We don't really do that.
She means not really, nobody really watches it.
Literally, there's nobody here.
Anyways, we have a session on the shorter side. This is sort of going to be a light and easy interim roleplay session.
Following the intense stuff that was last episode.
Yes.
So if you're watching this and didn't see that, or just checking this out, I don't know if that one's not up on YouTube yet, but it will be.
It will be.
And you can watch that and recap, because it was dope as fuck, if I do say so myself.
It's pretty good.
I had a great time. It was like a post D&D session coma for like a day and a half.
Who am I? It's the best kind of D&Ds where you forget who you are. Yeah. You're wondering if you're the fictional character, the druid fighter, or the...
Druid fighter?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd way rather be a wizard if it's up for grabs.
You're a wizard rogue.
Yep.
Alright, so with that in mind, are there any other announcements we need to get out of the way?
I don't think so. Our streaming schedule will be we'll be streaming this week. And obviously we post stuff on Instagram, so I'll post it there too. We're streaming this week. That's sort of a recap, chill episode. We will be off the following week. We will stream, I'm going to try for 2 weeks after that, and then we will be off for 2 weeks because we are moving, so we will need the time to
set
pack
up our studio again,
reset, get all settled into a new place. But
we'll keep you posted.
We'll keep you posted. Yeah, it's gonna be roughly like a week on, a week off kind of thing for a while, and then we'll take a sizable break while we move, and just check out our Instagram. It's a lot easier there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's all I got.
Are we ready?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Are we riggedy ready?
I'm ready to... I don't have a pencil. Oh.
I don't either. I don't have nothing.
I got nothing.
We
can go get one on the intermission if we really need it. I just still have my hit points from last time.
Okay.
All right.
So,
yes.
Where we last left off, the last episode was interesting. You made a deal with the demon and then quickly broke it and stabbed him in the back. Actually, you ended him by breathing electricity into his veins. That was pretty cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah. Then you and Huginn discussed your plans for how to proceed with the large creature at the center of at the heart of Palaven. What you guys had discussed was using your particular ritual, but instead of opening a portal to the Emerald Realm, which was your plan in the first place, or your intention with the ritual, rather open up the portal to a different place, the place where that thing needed to go. So you basically found how you're going to do this after a lengthy conversation with Huginn. Then you guys finally emerged and arrived at the place where this creature was. And you saw that there were 6 seated sages, elven sages, that were all watching. Or not watching, they were all sort of in this stasis state where they had this spell cast. And the spell was keeping this creature in place, frozen. Who also was there was the possessed body of Agrahim, possessed by a demon named Bast. And Agrahim, or Bast, were slitting throats. We're just leaving all of these sages dead. So you guys then got into conflict with Bast after a little bit of conversation, not a whole lot, because immediately you guys started firing at each other. Without a whole lot of trouble, you did chase the demon Bast into the shadows and execute him very mercilessly. Then you came back, though, to discover that the spell was rapidly fading and that you would need to act fast. And so what you did is you had Huginn and Calthenna anchor your ritual to the tree, and then you went and grabbed some of the blood from this creature. While doing so, though, it was tearing your limbs apart. However, through the combined effort of you and Huginn's healing magic, you managed to stave off a lot of that injury and actually collect some blood from this creature. Blood that you used in your ritual to open up a portal to the Shadowfell. And when you opened up that portal to the Shadowfell, you saw something pull him through.
Something spidery.
Very spider-like. So that's where we're at. You had just done that. You had then began to cry, sort of just overwhelmed with exhaustion and just sort of the whole entire mission in general. And then we'll say at the start of this session, you are waking up. It's been about a day and a half. You've been sleeping.
Hey.
Hey.
Nice to see you. We only checked the chat intermittently, but I'm glad you're tuning in. You're tuning in after like a really intense session, so I hope you feel like catching up on it because it was really good. But we're glad you're here. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Listen. No, I'm just kidding. So, you're waking up inside of Calthenna's tower, your room that you're used to using or residing in her tower. So you wake up there. What would you like to do?
There's undoubtedly a little like nest of pseudo dragon. Curled up in the bed too.
Curled up against you. Sort of in a position where like, you know, like your cat just like comes and curls up against you when you're in trouble, you know, or you're not feeling well. You don't really put the cat there or anything. It just sort of places itself. That's the position it's in. Sort of placed on top of you a little bit. Just sort of like its head just laying softly over your chest.
This just makes me want an actual pet dragon.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love a pet dragon. But its head is like slightly upturned and it's just snoozing and making little clicking noises as it snores.
Cute. I'm just sort of like both hands on top of it and try to like get a feel for how long it's been. Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's. I haven't had this happen in a while.
Casio stream.
There's nothing else online. OBS is fine. Let me check OBS.
I mean, yeah, OBS.
If you guys like are gonna see any of this happening.
Oh, what's going on,
there
OBS?
it is. No, it's back on. Look, it's green now.
It's green.
It's green.
Oh.
Oh God. Oh hey. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Technical difficulties. Sorry, friends. Oh.
Alright.
It's like you're looking in my face. Are we back? Are we back?
We're back. It never really, the timer's still the same. Like, it never really ended. It's weird.
Hopefully you guys have just been, like, watching us.
Yeah. Making weird faces.
Licking my face.
Sometimes it's hard to tell when it actually drops the stream or when it's just, like, a buffering issue. I'm like...
We check our audio there real quick.
Yeah.
Make sure it didn't go out for any reason.
Wrong way. Over here. Too
Da-da-da-da-da.
far. Yeah, we're
Yay.
still
Okay.
Good. Alright. I'm awake. I have a tiny dragon.
You're awake. You have a tiny dragon. Your attempts to gauge how much time has passed is fruitless. You are not that magical.
Are there windows in here?
No, actually.
Oh, cool. Then Tiriel's just going to like sit up groggily, still holding the dragon. And I guess start to make our way out. And not really having a great idea of how long it's been or, like, the journey back to here. So yeah, just sort of whatever, like, robe or thing she wears to bed, just, like, holding a dragon and, like, poke her head out the door and see what's out there.
Okay, so you poke your head out and you see the long stretch of hallway that you're sort of used to. These, the magical winding hallways of Calthenna's tower. You know which way to go to get to the various rooms inside of her demesne. Where would you like to go?
I'll head towards some of Calthenna's rooms, like if I know where like her study is or places she'd be likely to be found.
Okay.
I'll head that way.
Okay. You end up going towards her study room. The big one that you would sort of I believe have you been there in games and sessions?
I feel like I should have been, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Like, I know I've been in the kitchens, and that's really like that's the more memorable one.
Gotcha. You're heading towards her personal study, and you know what? Just for giggles and other things.
Just to make me roll.
Yeah, go ahead and give me Arcana.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if you can navigate either that or investigation. But let's see if you can navigate the magical hallways while you're still groggy and just waking up for a day and a half in sleep.
Well, if it's Arcana, that 2 turns into a 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you rolled a 2.
I rolled a 2.
I mean, a 14's definitely no.
To Arcana.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just have expertise in it?
I put expertise in it.
That's good.
Yeah.
How do you solve that?
It's 6 plus 5 plus 1 from the Stone of Luck.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
basic math. I've got that.
You do manage to find it. At first, you weren't quite sure that maybe you'd taken the wrong turn and you'd somehow found yourself in, deep in the bowels of the tower without even knowing it. But no, you are, in fact, right at the big, sort of sturdy wooden doors of Calthenna's study room.
Knock.
Tung, tung, tung.
I'm gonna wait half a second, then I'm gonna just go ahead and open it.
You go ahead and open it. Oh, you know what? You go ahead and open it, and you see Calthenna's study. You don't see her inside of it, but you do see the sort of you see this large, spacious room full of dark wooden bookcases filled to the brim with books. You see even a second story where there is a small sort of snug stairway that leads up into it. The second balcony seems to have just some tables, sort of like sitting room, but the whole back, the very back wall that you're looking at that is directly opposite of you is just one giant window. Staring out into just some nice pasture, essentially. Just beautiful and sunny and filled with golden wheat and long grass.
So not Vale?
No, not Vale at all. No.
Tiriel's gonna walk over to the window and like take a look at the landscape out there, cause that's trippy.
Yeah. Yeah. You've seen it before from being in her study before, but it's sort of just a part of the illusion of some of the more illusory parts of the tower. This is clearly, her study's not actually here. Clearly her study doesn't have this amazing view. But it's
looks cool.
It looks nice. It's calming. But there seems to be a living world out there. If only you could go out there and touch it.
Take a moment to appreciate the sort of wizardy nature of it.
Yeah.
It's an admirable wizard's tower.
I mean, like the faux sunlight, even like your eyes react to it. It helps to wake you up a little bit. You begin to like rub at it some more and blink out your crusties and stuff.
still gives me no idea what time it actually is. Alright, I will head back out and I guess try to make my way towards a room that I recall having windows or any sort of like frame of reference to the outside. As the more Tiriel wanders, the more she's feeling a little like outside of time and space and
I mean, you kind of are.
hasn't seen anybody, has a dragon, and is really tired.
Yeah.
Literally has not slept like this in a long time, and so is a little disoriented by the experience.
You would probably need to, you would need, I don't want to call it a mailroom, but it's basically a mailroom. It's like the room that she has that links up to a lot of like the communication hubs in Alexandria and stuff.
Gotcha.
So that room is legitimately linked to the outside world. So if you could find that one. However, you're not too sure of where that one might be.
Well, just go to the kitchens then.
Try to go to the kitchens?
It's the most likely gathering place.
Okay.
And there's food.
Okay. At some point you actually do run into a wandering Huginn, who is sort of wearing just like a nice, a nice like doublet, just sort of, or not doublet. Is that the armor? What's no, that's like the quilted thing, sort of.
Gambeson is what you're thinking.
Yes. So like a nice warm one of those, in like some nice trousers, but he is sort of just. He doesn't look at you at first as he's like wandering, but he's just like sort of looking around. He's like, how did I get here?
Lost again.
Yes. Hello, Tiriel. You're awake.
Hello. Do you have any idea what day it is?
It is the 2 days. Well, a day and a half after.
Day and a half.
After our exploits.
Wow.
Did you sleep well?
I did. I have not actually slept in a long time.
Oh, that's right. You do not sleep.
Not really.
Well, would you care to join me? I'm on my way to the kitchens.
Oh, we are going in... I think I'm going in the right direction.
I've
not.
been looking for the kitchens for about an hour.
Oh.
I am dreadfully tired of this tower.
Well, I can't guarantee I will be much more help right now, but we can try to find it.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Natural 20.
Oh, damn. Yeah, you get there in like 5 minutes. And Huginn's like, I've been out for an hour. Yeah.
It's like, I've been looking for the kitchen since you fell asleep.
I've been stuck out here, hungry. You walk into the kitchens, the same kitchen that you're pretty familiar with. It's got this like sort of small, homey wooden table. There are more windows that are smaller in size, but exposed to some sort of faux outside world. There is the large sort of like stone fireplace with the magman inside, burning hot as he is sort of heating up a pot of some delicious smelling stew, because it's winter, and everyone loves stew when it's cold.
Sounds great.
The servant, Calthenna's servant, Cora, is inside.
That's right.
The small halfling woman. Sort of long black hair that's pulled back into a tight ponytail. She sort of has her sleeves shrugged up. She's got a little apron on as she's just like chopping up some stuff. Because there's like a little counter, like a wooden countertop that she's just top.
Halfling-sized countertop?
Yeah.
Nice.
Or she's got a stool.
One of the two.
You're not sure.
I mean, it would be pretty obvious if it was halfling-sized or if she was at a normal type.
But you don't see her. You don't see her legs.
But I'd see the counter.
Maybe she's floating.
But is the counter like normal height or halfling height?
I'd say it's normal height.
Okay.
Yeah. It would make sense to have a halfling height counter. Sorry, halflings.
It would if you were building for your halfling.
But other people got
Sorry.
it easy, you know what I'm saying?
I'm over.
That'd be like the difference between like the sort of like kid water fountains and the adult water fountains. You know, when you're an adult trying to use the kid water fountains, you gotta like bend all the way over, you know? Same sort of deal.
Same sort of deal. That's fair. the things that are really important the very beginning of your D&D session are the kitchen counter's normal height or halfling height. Yeah, Tiriel's just gonna make her way in and look around. If she can't find it herself, ask for just some water. Is there like a pitcher of water somewhere?
Yeah, there's probably one right on the central table.
She's just gonna sort of thump the dragon onto the table. Slide the water over and pour a generous helping for herself and just drink it.
Okay. You drink that sweet. My brain is trying to combine sweet and fresh. I was gonna say swish. That swish water. I am like slightly dyslexic when I'm tired. I wouldn't say slightly. I'd say like really dyslexic when I'm tired. My brain just sort of like jumbles words
all
together.
Words, yeah.
Okay, so yes, you drink
just silently,
water.
like down a whole thing of water, pour another one, and take my time with the second one. But
Huginn's just watching you from across the table. How are you feeling?
A little overwhelmed, honestly. I don't remember much of what happened.
What do you mean?
I mean, I remember all the important parts, but I remember being very tired. I remember being very concerned about what happened with the bodies of the elves.
That is taken care of.
Were you able to talk to any of them?
Not really. Most of them were already at rest. For a long time.
Most of them?
Well, I meant all of them.
Oh, alright.
The one who did not have his staff. He was a little bit more chatty.
Did he have the staff of the noble red lion? It's kind of a mouthful.
Yes. He just wanted to wish his great-great-granddaughter good luck.
What?
That's what he said to me.
Are you sure? Was he sure? How would he know?
I do not know. I'm just reporting what was said to me. If you'd like, I can... Well, I can't ask him again.
Did you get his name?
No.
She was just sort of like... sets down the mug. That is interesting. I'm at least glad that they were at rest.
It is good to know, with all the things that happened to them.
What about Algrahim? Did you...
I did.
What was left of him?
Someone who did not know what had happened to him. He was like... The best way to put it is a child. A child who was taken for a trip they were not aware of. Against their will. He is not at rest either.
Of course not. You know, before I met you, I had never thought about whether or not the dead were at rest. It's not something I ever had to worry about. And I find now that I am sad to hear that even those that we cut down won't rest. You've been doing this for years. Does it get any easier?
Doesn't get any harder.
It's not saying much.
What I can tell you is that putting those at rest who were once restless is rewarding. And perhaps through some actions of yours or mine, we can put Agrahim's soul at rest. There was something about wishing he could tell his father something.
Well,
But it was a mess. He was a mess.
I'm not too keen on telling his father that he's dead, so...
That is also unwise, but if you don't have to take on that burden.
No, but I'll remember it.
Well, what I mean by that more formally is that it is not your place. It's the place of one of the priests of the Raven Queen. Someone like me.
Is this what you do then?
This is what I do.
You put these people to rest, and you take on whatever it was that they had undone and unfinished.
The unfinished works.
Become yours.
The things they wish to have said. The tasks they left undone.
Why would you choose that?
I don't know if I did. Think it chose me?
Well, it is admirable, and it sounds like an awful lot of work.
There are many of us. Our order has grown significantly since the Scourge. But it is a monumental task, not one we can do alone. We're hoping to educate the other peoples, see if maybe they would found orders of their own.
I guess I have a DM question. Would DM switch hats? Because the elves believe that when they died, they sort of entered a cycle of rebirth and come back out through the lapis tree as something else.
Mm-hmm.
You just drink your own. I guess, what do they believe about that at all? Of, unrest or whether...
I mean, banshees are a thing. Banshees are a pretty big problem in the Merwood.
Yeah. No! I don't know if you, catch us screaming at it because it looks like it went down, but...
Can we check the other side, please?
I will. Yeah, it's probably over there. Yeah. In 5, 4, 3, 2, attempt 1. Attempted to reconnect. Attempt harder, god damn it!
Why is this having problems?
I don't know. I could go just turn off all the consoles and things in the house.
I don't think that's it.
I don't think that's it either, but literally no one else is here.
No, I think what we've learned is that it's like an OBS issue. So does OBS need an update?
No, it didn't have an update when I loaded it today.
Go to...
Yeah.
Should be something in there. That updates will go slower.
I check for updates. I remember where it is. So you guys get to hear all the weird noises. Yeah, it's not even going to want to check for updates because the connection's so bad right now.
I don't want this to take so long.
Me either. We're like, hey, we're just going to have a shorter session today. You're up to date. Yeah, it's not this. Drop frames. Are you sure you don't want to turn everything else off? Yeah, look, we're still counting, but now we're down to 0 viewers.
I guess.
It dropped everybody.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what the fuck it's gonna do.
I mean...
They're all in rest mode.
I know. I don't know what else to do.
Can you hear us?
Probably not.
Oh.
Oh, hey?
Oh, hey.
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
Yay.
You can hear us.
After talking about unrest, with the, about the elves, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the elves.
So yes, banshees are definitely a huge problem in the Merwood. So you imagine there's a lot of elves out there whose, either their bodies can't be found and done anything with. But yeah, elves don't necessarily have the same process as the, the white necromancers and the priests of the Raven Queen.
Interesting.
They are definitely sort of a unique phenomenon of the last, half millennia.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Just thinking thoughts.
Yeah. Elves have their own traditions when it comes to death. A lot of them involving sort of nature, and sort of burying people among nature or bringing their bodies back, things like that. Reciting their songs, their stories, that kind of stuff. But
not the same process of like very deliberately like
putting
like their sort of lingering spirits to rest.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I mean, Huginn can tell you a lot more about what the priests of the Raven Queen do, because what he's told you so far is just like a portion.
Mm-hmm.
They have sort of another function that's again more unique to them.
And Huginn,
Yes.
you talked at one point about your mentor or master.
I did.
How did you meet him? Because he had this staff, at least a part of it.
Well, I don't have my notes for that.
Sorry. Sorry. Putting you on the spot.
I don't know how he'd gotten the staff, but I met him a long time ago. He is, you could say, my adoptive father. He had taken me in. The heck? Oh no.
Oh no? You okay?
Okay, cool.
Alright.
He had taken me in when I was a child, after I had lost my father. My father was a merchant from the, we lived in the fjords, behind Neverend's Reach, or on the north side. It was cold, frigid, and my father was the man who sailed from town to town and would eventually make his way south for more interesting things. And we'd simply got caught up in a storm. My father and his boat were wrecked. I was saved by a passing ship a day later. When we arrived at the docks, this man had taken me in. And from then on, I was enrolled into becoming a priest of the Raven Queen, as he was.
So you did not choose this for yourself?
Not quite. What do we choose? Who knows?
If you could have chosen, what do you think you would have done?
Drink?
Well, you have chosen that.
Then I am fine. I have done my calling. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't turn back the hands of the clock and find out. But I like what I do, and it is worth it. It is necessary function for civilized society.
Well, the elves don't have anything like that.
Well,
That's
what we do is, it is No one else does it. We do it here, we do it in the Riverlands. And that's it. And by here, I meant the Alliance.
Realize it's, sort of feels like...
We're all over the place,
It's-
yeah. Just somewhere in the world.
There's a lot of Alliance, like, heraldry here. It's fine.
I mean, this is the Riverlands, where you guys are at.
Yeah.
The edge of it.
Yeah.
Pretty much the very
Sort
edge
of
of it.
like the edge of where, like, the Myrwood ended and...
Yeah, the Riverlands begins.
Sort of the part of the no man's land in between.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I realize it's been a day and a half. Do you have any idea what time of day?
I think it is late afternoon. That is dinner.
Oh.
And you hear the splash of like Cora dropping in more vegetables. She says, yeah, it should be done soon. And then she walks back over, just, come. Smells good.
It smells very good.
I don't think she likes us.
I know she doesn't like us. Do you know how long she left me outside the first time I came here?
No, I
Very,
don't.
very long time.
The first time I came here, Calthenna answered the door.
Yes, you are very lucky. It's been Calthenna ever since. I think she doesn't want to risk leaving me out there that long anymore.
Was it cold?
No, not really. It's much colder now than it was then. Do you know where Calthenna is?
I do. She was at the Crying Creed.
Oh.
She was speaking with some of the Blazing Commandos and the
Like, realization dawns on Tiriel's face with that. She's like, there was everyone else who was with us.
and the Black Buzzards. Yes, she's working out, I think, further plans for deeper investigation into the Ruby District. Once we had destroyed that, or once we'd gotten rid of that creature, the rest of that shadow had lifted from the rest of the Ruby District. And so now there's more to explore.
Were they all okay?
They were.
Most of them?
They were fighting for about as long as we were walking and traveling, and
That is a very long time.
they had stuck together, and that's how they survived.
I had honestly completely forgotten about them.
Me too.
Don't tell them that.
It's okay. They weren't very memorable anyways.
Oh, yes, I mean, slightly memorable.
Who do you remember?
I mean, I traveled here with Danica and Merovir, so...
Who
I
are they?
remember them. You didn't meet them.
I don't
You
know
would have
them.
met them. Yeah. You would have met them in the tavern when we were organizing everything.
Do they drink?
Undoubtedly.
Then I would have met them.
Yes. Well, do you know if Calthenna was coming back for dinner?
I'm sure she is. She's been gone. Well, I don't know. She's been gone a while. I've been trying to navigate this terrible, terrible place.
It's not that bad. Just, I don't know, think like a wizard.
His face goes totally blank as he's just like,
Well, I think perhaps I will go put some real clothes on and come back down here, and hopefully Calthenna will be back.
and the stew will be done.
The stew will be done, and I believe I owe you quite a lot of drinks.
Yes, you do.
Then we can eat, and we can go to the tavern ourselves and see who else is there, and I
Sure.
will buy you 7 or 8 bottles of something.
I'm in.
I'm gonna go find my clothes.
Okay. As you are opening up and walking out the door, you hear, "Think like a wizard."
Tiriel just laughs, walks out.
You find your way back to your room. And in doing so, you find your set of clothes.
Cool. I'll change back into real clothes.
You equip those.
Thank you.
Your appearance is now changed.
Thanks.
Would you
There's
like to
now
keep this
Harmon
appearance
quest.
common?
You do that!
You do that! Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. If we ever have, like, a goofy one-shot or something, like, I'm going to talk like that the whole time. You do that.
I would like to track down Miles wherever he is and have him come with me back down to the kitchen.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start poking at his legs.
Okay.
And figuring out how to reattach them.
You find Miles. You bring him back to the kitchen. You splay out his, machine parts.
Does he have like a sleep function? Can I just like?
I don't know.
Just hold very still. Also, give me those legs. He's holding them.
He's like sort of just like clutching them back away from you.
Do you want me to put them back on? Thank you.
Gives you the legs with his little spider things.
Mm-hmm.
As Cora like walks past, she was stirring the stew. Hey, we're back.
I'm gonna just refresh so I can get our visuals hopefully. Or not. Hey. Oh wow, that's a cute freeze frame there. Alright. I see you. I don't know if he's working. Yeah. God, after like a flawless session last week for a long recording session.
I'm glad last week's was flawless.
Last week's was flawless, yeah.
That was definitely where we needed it to be
Yeah.
flawless.
So at least if it's gonna be sketchy and weird, it's this week where it's less serious. We're gonna have some cool character moments and catch up on, what happened, but not gonna interrupt the like intense interdimensional fucking portal opening. Alright. We're back. We're gonna try to keep it on. Sorry for all that, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing our best.
We are doing our best.
Alright.
All right. So, where were we at? Oh, you were working with Miles.
Yes. I was poking and prodding at whatever.
Miles innards.
Cora was going to say something.
Yes, Cora was busy stirring the soup, and she was going to say, "Do you have to do that here?"
I don't want to miss the soup.
I don't. This is not the workshop. There is a workshop, and it's way, way down the tower.
Will you bring me soup? I look at Huginn. Will you bring me soup?
I don't know if I would fight you in time. Soup will find its way to you. If you don't mind.
I'm gonna leave Miri, the pseudo-dragon. She has a name now. I will leave her with you. And she doesn't look like she's going to bring me soup. She might be able to help you find me.
I'm sure she will.
No, I was talking to Huginn.
Oh. I don't know.
I believe in you.
Mm.
I'm gonna try to find the workshop before I get kicked out.
You end up looking for the workshop with...
Scooping up Miles' legs. Follow me.
So you go downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You find the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
You're tinkering away. Give me a D4 roll.
Okay.
See how many days it's going to take you.
Yep. 4.
Wow, four whole days. Okay. So yeah, it's going to take you 4 days to repair him.
Tiriel starts poking around, sees that it's going to be really difficult. It's like, fuck it. Take these back. We'll work on this tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. So each day we're going to do, checks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just good. Well, no.
It's just 4 days.
Yeah, it's just going to be 4 days.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to work on him, I'd say for like a good 4 or 5 hours per day.
Okay.
Since, apparently at first glance you're like, I don't get this. I'm going to need time. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Sort of opened up whatever panels the legs connect to and was like, I need to find whoever built this because this is ridiculous. And I just close them back up. I give Miles back his legs. We'll get ourselves soup.
Noam Chomsky, man.
Noam fucking Chomsky.
Yeah, so you end up going back as sort of soup is being passed out. You and Huginn eat together in relative silence.
Far end of the table, away from wherever Cora's.
Oh no, Cora's taking her soup elsewhere.
Oh,
yeah.
Excellent.
And it's pretty much as you guys are like getting into it, Calthenna pops the door. Tiriel, you're awake.
I am.
It's good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Are you well?
Yeah, I think so. I have
That's
slept
good.
for a day and a half apparently.
You deserved it.
I don't normally sleep. I know I keep saying that, but it's very unsettling.
Well, it looked like it came easy to you.
Did it?
Oh, you passed out.
Oh god.
It didn't take long either.
That's all right.
Oh, soup. Oh, yes. Oh, she made my favorite. And Calthenna starts like scooping into a bowl and then sits down and she sort of cups the bowl in her hands or like on the table as she so I think you'll be pleased to know that no one knows of our exploits.
No one.
No one.
Nice.
I've managed to carefully keep it under wraps. I was surprised myself.
I'm very impressed.
I think your influence and maybe Huginn's influence is rubbing off on me.
Oh yes.
Because an earlier Calthenna would have just told everyone what had happened.
Yes.
But I think maybe
I'm
with
really glad our obsessive secrecy and lack of honesty is rubbing off on you.
discretion, I would like to call it.
Oh, it's a much nicer way to put it. I think Cora hates us. Have we mentioned that?
Oh, she doesn't like really anyone, except for me.
How do you know each other?
It's a story.
Alright.
For maybe another day.
Another day. Well, it looks like I'll need quite a few to fix Miles, so perhaps one of those days.
That brings me to my question. What are your plans from now, Tiriel? What are you doing in the future?
I don't know. This wasn't what I came here to do. It was, but not like this.
You saved Vale.
Yes. And
I'm glad you did.
Me too, oddly enough. But I definitely came out here not to save places, that's for sure. But I don't know where that leaves me.
You could continue exploring out west if you'd like. There might be other places for you to still do what you came out here to do in a more peaceful manner, which I think is your persuasion now. Am I correct in that?
I hope so.
Well, there are many nice places that you could see from if you went more out west. The Riverlands are full of swampland and low marshland, but they're a charming place, and the people who inhabit them are even more charming. They have a lot of color to them.
Yes, but I don't know. I came out here to do something very specific. I came out here to open a door and give my people a way to move and bring their anger
Here.
out of anywhere other than the Merwood.
Here?
It would have been here if things had gone differently.
Right, but now you can choose to do something else.
Yes,
You don't have to be controlled by that desire.
but that was my way back.
Well, there's a whole world out there.
I know
There's the
that.
peaks of Neverin. You can go down all the way to the island of Ogre if you'd like. And even as far south as Lamia if you'd like. Gerudo.
I don't don't think I should be going to Lamia anytime soon.
I'm just saying, there's a lot to see. There's a lot to the world. And your part of the world, it occupies only a small part of it.
But nonetheless, it is my part of the world. And it's where my family is. And as of now, I will never get to see them again.
Who knows? I think, and I had an idea, we could maybe persuade your people to take you back. We do have several hundred, if not, we can find thousands of elven artifacts, all reclaimed by the efforts of one young elf. And I have those staves that belong to the sages. We could study them, we could find out more about them, and we could return them. And show that the Alliance is invested in preserving elven culture. And I've already spoken with the Alliance, and that's what they're interested in. If they could broker a deal between us and Merwood and sort of get them talking and doing diplomacy again. And it's all thanks to you, Tiriel. So you could take that credit and sort of cash it in, if you like.
I like the sound of that.
I don't know if it'll work.
I don't know.
I don't know how stubborn your people are, but...
Well, my brother's the one who deigned to follow me all the way to the very edge of the Moorwood and tell me I can't come back, so
yeah,
I think it'll be a tough sell.
He sounds like an asshole.
I mean, he is my brother, but yes. We're very competitive. And I don't know. Maybe he saw it as his chance to not have to compete with me anymore.
That could be the case. Just when we first met, I remember telling you about my father.
Mm-hmm.
And how he was exiled from the Merwood as well, and let himself be exiled for the woman he loved. But when she was gone and he could no longer turn back, he went and explored. Because for him, the time did heal that wound, did sort of help him choose again. But I wouldn't. Don't allow yourself to be controlled by the fear of not being able to go back. Because who knows? Your people could finally decide on Huginn, how should I put this? And Huginn goes, wisdom. They could decide on wisdom. And, of course, open up the borders once again.
That would be quite the feat. It's been a very long time.
It has. And like I said, time heals all wounds, so it's only a matter of time.
Well, perhaps I'll help you. I'll help you look at those staffs and send them back. Apparently, one of them belonged to an ancestor of mine.
One of the staffs? Which one?
Well, I'll let you guess which one.
The one you're holding? Wow. Wow.
It's
It's
sort of a shame I had to watch a demon-possessed Lamian slit my great-grandfather's throat. It's not exactly the reunion, I think.
Remember, Huginn pipes up, they were essentially already dead.
Oh.
If that makes you feel any better.
Only moderately.
And I spoke to him. He's at rest. So, their bodies will be taken care of, so...
What are you doing with them? The bodies?
For now, I have them tucked away. In my inventory.
Got a stack of 6 of them.
It's the max of a stack.
Oh.
No, Huginn tells you that he's sort of made...
Calthenna's got a freezer.
he's sort of made some, like a quick mound, essentially, outside of Palavin for them. And he used magic to essentially preserve their bodies.
Okay.
I think there's a spell that essentially keeps them from decomposing for a while.
There's a few different things.
Yeah. So his plan was to wait for you. And what would you like done with them?
I mean, we could always send the remains back to Piraven.
That's a good idea.
Or I hesitate to bury them in Palavin with it.
That is
Instead of being...
not as good idea. Not until Palavin is safely cleared of all the monsters. It would never be a true resting place. At least not one that couldn't be disturbed.
Well then, perhaps the best they can hope for there is some sort of memorial.
In Palavin? You want their bodies sent back to Piraven?
I think that would be best.
I think so too.
And with the staffs, with each one of them, other than mine, I'm sure one of them, they won't miss one.
Apparently that one belongs to you anyways. Family heirloom.
Definitely not letting my brothers have this one.
This one?
I mean, there's not many heirlooms. Elves live for a very long time. We don't really get to pass a whole lot of things on.
Are there other heirlooms?
Not any that I'm aware of.
Oh, you are aware of one.
Oh, that's right. I'm aware of one. Yes, well, typically you don't pass down heirlooms before you've died. So I think my father will be keeping his sword for a while.
Yeah.
But I think, well, fate, as you might say, brought this one to me.
Fates did?
You know, I thought you were absolutely full of shit when you told me that you were waiting for me. I think you're slightly less full of shit now.
Thank you.
But it's a lot to take in. A lot happened. A lot happened in not a whole lot of time.
Well, now you have time to think on that, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't want to think too much about it.
That is how fate works. You don't think too much about it.
Well, I think I'm done with the soup. You can tell Cora that it was lovely. Maybe she will hate us slightly less.
Well, hate is a strong word. She doesn't exactly hate you. She just sort of doesn't like anyone else.
What have I ever done to her?
Oh, nothing.
She's very prickly.
Oh, she is, of course. I mean, she's a small girl in a big world. She's had to fight.
I mean, literally.
Literally, yeah, yes, of course.
I still don't understand why she's so mean.
Maybe one day I'll tell you why.
We have time.
But also that might not be my story to tell.
One last question for you.
Yes.
Before I go see if it's even remotely possible to get Huginn drunk.
It is not.
Remains to be seen. Tira's just looking at Calthenna, not looking at him. You said that you might be willing to try opening a door to the Emerald Realm. Since no one knows your discretion won out, and no one knows what exactly happened, no one knows that we have this information.
Well, that was also part of why I wasn't too keen on sharing it, is because if I told them about the problem, they'd ask about our solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd prefer to leave our solution out of the picture. We can, of course, we can still do that, I would relish in the chance to try your ritual and see if we can open up a door to the Emerald Realm. Of course, so at your leisure, I mean, take your time in resting and getting your bearings straight. Even do some shopping if you'd like. I always think that a little bit of marketplace shopping is therapeutic.
Alright. Just... I don't know. I don't know what you'll prepare, where you have in mind to do it. I assume somewhere in here.
I have many rooms for that, but yes.
Just... whatever safeguards, wards, protections, locks, traps. Just go to town on it.
Tiriel, you're talking to a wizard, you know that, right?
Yes.
A very good and professional wizard.
And...
one who's been doing this for a very long time. You need to say no more.
Just...
you need to say no more.
goodbye.
You leave after some delicious, delicious soup. And yeah, you, we'll say that you spend sort of the next few days. Well, what would you like to spend the next few days doing?
I'm going to stock up on a handful of bottles of really good liquor from the Crying Cream.
Okay.
So that I don't have to go back there every time.
Mm-hmm.
We can just stash those away in Calthenna's tower.
How many bottles are you talking about?
6.
6 bottles?
Yes.
I'd say that costs you like 12 gold.
Oh, that's not much. I don't have a pencil. I'll keep track of that later. I'll just write that. I'll add that in my notes. I'm not really taking this time.
And I'll just write it on the thing, because I want to write things too.
I guess that evening, I'll just do it the first day. I want to use that staff to cast legend lore.
Okay.
And see what else I can learn about the name of the demon that...
Malat.
Malat.
Okay. Malat's name is primarily known. She was known of during the Scourge.
Interesting.
She was one of Orcs' generals, essentially.
Okay.
Along with a few other notable figures. However, her main claim to fame comes from being one of the primary succubuses through which the tieflings were created with the Magisters. I hope I don't have to go too in detail to tell you what that means.
I'm really confused. I don't think I understand.
Oh, okay. Well, when a succubus loves a man,
when a succubus is hungry for power and influence in the mortal realm.
This is what she does. So yes, so she's sort of one of the ones primarily responsible for the creation of tiefling kind in general.
Interesting.
And not just that. Once her ambitions once it was realized that her ambitions sort of carried a lot farther than the towers of the Magisters, they banished her back to Oblivion.
The Magisters did?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
And once they did that, she sort of became the whisperer to tiefling kind. She's sort of a figure that they rally to whenever they sort of rebel. Honestly, because of her sort of mythical and legendary status among tieflings, if it wasn't for them sort of quietly whispering about her in the dark, this spell, you would have figured out nothing.
Interesting.
Oh, except for maybe her association with the orcs in the war.
But the fact that she's sort of revered by tieflings themselves. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't have learned a whole lot. The Magisters did a lot to sort of erase her stain.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you imagine that's how sort of, that's how Sanguine was called over to do her bidding, essentially.
Yeah. Sort of, she was one of her sort of tools in this plot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. That's cool.
That's what we learned about Malat. Malat. Yeah.
I feel like it's sounds like one of your crawl gods.
Yeah. That's where all my evil gods get their names is crawl.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So I guess my overall plans for the next few days are, obviously work on Miles.
Mm-hmm.
A few hours each day.
Mm-hmm.
After a day or two, go to Calthenna and start putting together the pieces and looking at how she wants to do this doorway.
Okay.
And yeah, and then at some point, does the tower have any sort of roof access, balconies somewhere,
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
The outside of the tower is sort of there's no balconies per se. There are windows. Again, the window from her delivery room. At this point, you've seen a few griffins come in and out. They definitely crawl in through that window. It's crazy because the window's not big enough, but they somehow manage to squeeze through. And they sort of deliver things to her.
Gotcha.
In fact, this is one of the ways that she was thinking that they might deliver those staves, is via griffin transport.
Maybe with some warning.
She was thinking of
coming.
having them land in Inadar.
Okay.
And then getting them back. And she said she asked you if you know of any people that can be contacted in Inadar who these might be entrusted to.
I talked to the elder
Simon
in Inadar.
Mm-hmm. I think his name was Simon.
I think it was.
I hope his name was Simon.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
And you can tell them that these are from the elf that rescued a fear of their people when I first went through.
Okay. Yeah.
I think, I don't know if there's a way, well, I don't have it, but I could possibly learn it in the time that I have here. Sending.
Oh.
To...
I think she could teach you sending. You'd have to mark off the gold amount.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, you could learn sending.
Okay. Are you writing down that I'm learning sending?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I just don't have a pencil to write things on the character sheet.
We were totally prepared today.
Totally, yeah. I don't even have a fucking pencil. Yeah. And then use that to sort of give a heads up to someone in the Merwood.
Okay. You are keenly aware of this city closest to hold on, let me look this info up. Got a lot of notes everywhere.
Mm-hmm. It would need to be someone that I am personally familiar with to do sending.
Yeah, I imagine you would be personally acquainted with the Bladesinger maestro of that location. Let me get his name, because I do have his name.
Is it the place I think it is? Is it the town I'm also familiar with in a different campaign? Because I can tell you his name.
No, it's not that one.
Okay. Oh, it's the other Bladesinger.
Barander. Barander is the maestro of a city called Periite.
Okay.
Periite is a sort of smaller elven city, but it's the one actually closest to Inandar.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one who sort of oversees and abuses Inandar from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And Barander's always sort of struck you as definitely an elf, sort of too ingrained in the sort of the culture of today,
mm-hmm.
which is, humans are bad, people outside the Merwood can go to hell for all he cares. But you know that you get a message to him.
Okay.
and that, you're not sure if he would go on your word or not. There also is, I don't know if you would have met him, but you might have met him just because your father's sort of a figure. Your father's like the general of all the blade singers. I don't know what his title would be yet, but the Archdruid is Calthenna. So I don't know if you would know him. You might have heard of him, but you might not actually have met him. So you can maybe send a message to Berander saying, "Hey, get this to Calthenna." And then, of course, barring that are the people your father, your brothers, all the people you've met in Pyrrhavin because you come from the capital.
Yeah.
So you're probably familiar with a lot of the head figures there.
Then I would.
Maybe any friends you have.
Yeah. Whenever I learn sending, I will use it twice. I will send one message to Berander, and the way sending works is like if they know you, they know it's you.
Oh, okay, got it.
When you cast the spell.
Got it.
And like I can come up with my exactly 25 words. I say
Don't worry about it.
We can assume that I do that, but tell him.
You tweet him.
Basically, yeah. Send him the message saying these things are coming, and that they need to be, taken to Pyrrhavin.
Got it.
And then I will send a second. Tiriel will send a second one to her younger brother, Lindir.
Lindir, nice.
And just tell him she's still alive, and that there's some very important things coming into. What's the name of that town? Not Inundar, the other one. Periite. And
how does sending work?
It's 25 words or less. You send a message. They know it's coming from you. If they're on a different plane of existence, there's a chance it fails, but it can cross planes of existence, and they can respond in kind. So they can also give you a 25-word response in return. And so send it to Berander, and assuming, he would respect the fact that I want this to get to Pyrrhavin, but just in case, send one to Lindir as well to see if he will, put the word out in Pyrrhavin that these things are coming.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Cool. Lindir at least sends a message back saying that he's super, excited to hear from you and that he will get those things. Basically the gist of it. Just glad you're alive. Also something about, he wishes you were there. Things are getting worse, is what he sort of says. In as few words as a tweet will allow. So you
It's
get
like a
that.
telegram.
Yeah.
Things bad. Stop.
Yeah. No more dick pics. So yes. So you send those out. You're gonna send the staffs with some griffins, a griffin transport, because the roads are getting worse. They're not too bad though. But yeah, not many people want to caravan stuff.
As far as speed, and honestly, if Calthenna's got the hookup with a griffin delivery service, might as fucking well.
She does. I mean, all major alliance contacts do. They have access to the Griffin Express.
Love it.
I don't actually know what it's called yet, but
I like Griffin Express. It's the worst.
that might be it now.
Yeah.
This is the part of DMing that I love. Is just making shit up.
Pulling it out of your ass. Yeah, those Griffin Riders. It's the Griffin Express.
The Griffin Express. Hey, whatever.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
Yeah. Then do that. Make sure those get there. Yeah. Tiriel's really, really curious to see if it's even possible to get Huginn drunk.
Okay. So you try.
Try. Really hard.
How hard?
I have at least 6 bottles. Tiriel probably gets well and truly drunk herself in an effort to make it happen.
Doesn't seem possible.
That can't be healthy.
What?
mean, is you just opening your mouth and pouring it out into the Shadowfell? Like, where is it all going?
I don't know. My gut? I'm not a physician.
You can't... You're the closest thing to one, really.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're a healer of sorts.
They have actual people who study parts of the body. That's not me.
Yes, but does that seem healthy? Does that seem like anyone?
It is my fuel. Of course it is healthy.
It is not your fuel.
What do you mean? Just because it affects you differently doesn't mean that it should hurt me. If it hurts you, that is your problem. You have the constitution of an elf. It's much weaker than mine. I come from a cold and frigid place. I am able to withstand many things, including alcohol. Lots and lots of alcohol. You have to try it better than this.
Yes. I do.
He sort of like recoils away and not really realizing what he just said.
There's some very strange things that the elves grow and a lot of wizards grow. Plants. Things you can sort of grind up and light and smoke.
What is this that you're talking about?
It's very, very dangerous, but...
Do you think Calthenna has some?
Have we ever seen, like, a greenhouse of any kind?
Would you like to go look for a greenhouse?
Yes. I want to see if she has any weird plants.
Arcana check.
18. No, 16.
16?
Yeah. 16.
You sort of meander about for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you sort of check doors and doors. You sort of figured out sort of the pattern of again, Calthenna's the inner workings of her tower. You notice
like
that
one door, if you pull it open, it's one room. Push it open, it's a different one.
right. Or if you sort of change the color of the lamp,
mm-hmm.
you know, with prestidigitation or whatever you're using. If you change the color of the lamp by yourself, that the room is different, yada yada, things like that. There's a whole lot of tricks to a wizard's tower that you've definitely sussed out.
Mm-hmm.
But it still takes you a while.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually you find something resembling a greenhouse. Not really a greenhouse so much as like an herb garden.
Mm-hmm.
It's small, there's not a whole lot to it. It's got the sort of artificial sunlight sort of coming in through like a sunroof,
nice.
or not a sun, like a skylight. And
it's like a car, you push a button.
yeah. It's got very few things in it though. If you're looking for this particular route, especially if you're not acquainted with it, you will need to give me a nature check.
Okay, cool. It's not bad. Oh, that's an 11.
Ooh, an 11?
6. I didn't really mean to roll it. It kind of fell out of my hand, but I'll take it.
You can roll with advantage because you're a wizard.
Oh,
nice.
That's a 22.
And because I want to see this happen. Sometimes you get to do that as a DM. You're like, I want to see a thing happen. Roll again.
Yeah.
You do end up finding what looks to be unmistakably like wizard root.
Nice.
Yeah. It seems like this wizard root also was in the process of curing and drying.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Calthenna's hooking herself up. How much is there?
Not a whole lot. Like a clipping for like, I mean, at least from the first plant, you and you can probably use that.
Would you use all of it?
You know the stakes here.
Yeah.
I need to look up Huginn's Constitution check.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to just point at it. If you want to really see if you can withstand anything, try that.
And what happens if I do?
I don't know. I'll be shocked and horrified.
Well, you first.
No.
What do you mean no? If I have to do it, you have to do it. We'll smoke it at the same time.
This will get people into a lot of trouble.
We are already in a place I don't think we should be, so...
It's just a card. It's fine. Fine. This is going to go horribly.
Roll
It's
Constitution
going to be
check.
terrible.
Roll Constitution check.
Oh, my constitution is not. It's just pretty much a straight roll.
Okay. Hey, just for reference.
Oh shit! I feel bad now.
Yeah. I'll spare you the details. Huginn goes to a very dark place.
Tiriel has a great time. Tiriel's up. She's like,
You end up so just for
oh no, astral project into a different realm.
yeah, so yeah. It's just Huginn who can't find his way because he's not a wizard.
I like that idea though.
Yeah. So wizard root is definitely sort of just a plant that allows wizards to astral project and go see different places.
Mm-hmm.
And so you smoke it, and since you rolled a nat 20, you go to Elysium. You go to the plane of utter tranquility and rest, and you feel at total peace while you're there. And you're not even sure how long you're there. What you're sort of the place that you're at is just sort of this rolling landscape of pleasant hills, beautiful mountains off in the distance. The sky is just sort of perpetually this sort of like magenta pink color. It's just very calming. There's lights in the air that definitely just sort of bring your body and your awareness into a place where, they're just in complete harmony. You don't have thoughts about what you need to do, where you should go. The grass is warm against your back. The sun off in the distance, Elisol's brilliant radiance is like a kiss upon your forehead. This is just very much you almost feel like you're melting, sort of, but not in a bad way. Yeah, in a good way. Like all of those fears and anxieties, and even the thought of not being able to go back to the road, all of them are washed away in this complete state of bliss. And yeah, you just kick back, lay down, look at the sky, and that's what you do. Mm-hmm. You see a few creatures here and there. You see even some beings that are alien to you, not like in appearance, mm-hmm. but you don't feel like you've ever heard of them or know about them, but they just sort of peacefully walk, and you're not sure where they're from, what plane they belong to, but they're here for the same reason as you, and they just sort of wander in an eternal bliss. Something about that, in the very recesses, in the very core of your stomach, fights you and is like, that's not right. I do have places to be. But it's okay because, your journey here, your sojourn here is very temporary. Mm-hmm. But yeah, everything, all of your fears, everything just melts away from you. And this will have a lasting effect.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as you return and you slowly vibrate from astral projecting, and you slowly find yourself settling back down into your physical form, you are at total zen and peace. You look to your right, and you see Huginn sweating bullets, his eyes wide. He is holding himself and clutching at his arms.
Does he look conscious? She's gonna sort of reach out.
He recoils away from you. I just went to a terrible place. Deep beneath the ocean. I saw things. I saw eyes.
She's gonna grab him by the elbows and pick him up.
He is shivering. He's actually cold to the touch too. His whole body is just frigid.
So, I feel terrible about this as I'm leading him out. But I win. We're taking you to bed.
Okay. You put him to bed. Eventually you find out that he went to what sounds like in your mind the realm of the Enderdeep. Either he went to the Enderdeep or he went to Rimmergan. Both of them not fun places for people to be.
Just sort of drops him into bed. puts whatever bottle of something I'm sure he has in his room onto, like, into his arms. Like, I'm sorry.
Huginn does not go to sleep that night. Yeah, you leave him just the shivering, sweating mess. The next day, he's just like hard to make eye contact with and stuff. Yeah, the experience is not good. Eventually, he gets over it over the next few days and realizes that it was very temporary, but...
I had a great time.
That does not make me feel good. That makes me feel worse. Next time I'm getting you drunk.
I can do that on my own.
But it's like terribly drunk. You're going to make a mess of yourself and I'm going to laugh.
I don't think I like that.
It doesn't matter, it's not to you. Just like going to that place was not up to me.
You agreed to it?
I did not choose, I did not know.
Time?
You did not warn me.
I didn't know that would happen.
You probably did.
It's never happened to me.
Yeah, there's definitely been a tension between you two, for the next few days. Again, it wasn't a pleasant experience in his end at all. You had literally the most pleasant experience.
There's a small kernel of satisfaction and victory in the fact that he is not impenetrable.
Yeah.
But I do feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, eventually he gets over it. At least he didn't go to oblivion.
Yeah.
If he would have went there, he might have not returned.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So just for reference for you guys, Huginn might have went to either one of two places based on his sort of physical, the things that he reported in his physical. He either went to a plane called Rimmergand, which is a plane of just, what do you call it? Like the state of the universe. Entropy. Entropy and ice and cold. There are strange beings there that are just alien to, humanoid creatures. And then there is the Underdeep, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a plane of roiling ocean. It is nothing but. So, imagine being there.
Imagine being just underwater in endless watery space.
Yeah, and one of the tales about the Underdeep is that there is just this creature known as the Leviathan, who is about as big as the ocean itself and just exists at the very bottom of it. And not really a lot of people know about that. Some people think it was like some cults think it's like the original dragon. Other people don't, but it's just up for interpretation. But it's also it's not as bad as Rimmergand, honestly, but
it has its own sort of
it has its
horror.
own, yeah, exactly. Especially if you are, astral projecting, you projected the ocean, it down there.
A little bit of lore for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. Yeah. What else? Calthenna's setup for ritual.
Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely work on that over the next few days as well as while you're working on with Miles. And I'd say you get done with Miles. The ritual takes you, at least setting up the room for it, since since Calthenna's trying to be so careful, takes a few days. I would say it takes like a week actually, because Calthenna really sets it up. She has wards upon wards upon traps, like all sorts of things that if anything comes through, if anything bad happens, there are precautions in place.
Okay.
Would you guys like to perform this ritual?
Like,
she sets it up in one of her rooms, one of her conjured rooms essentially. And the way that she does is based on your recommendation. She actually sort of it's this like small sort of like enclosed like bit of forest actually, and sort of the walls of the actual room are like thick wall of trees. Just they're standing next to each other, and there's barely any room to actually like escape out of. And there's one tree in the center, and it's just sort of like a dark wooded tree with these hanging leaves that sort of look like teardrop in shape. And so so she creates that based on your recommendation, that there's actually just a door that just sits, in between some of these like barricaded trees. And so she creates this, and there's like wards set up all around it, and defenses. She even has like some contingencies in place, literal contingencies.
Nice.
Other things, like ways to summon elementals if something comes through. There's defenders already there, so.
Yeah, Tiriel would probably spend quite some time just sitting in that room looking at it and just trying to decide, like, is this a good idea? Like,
You can roll to see if it's a good idea.
I mean, I don't need to roll. I know it's a bad idea. I'm going to do it anyway. Alright. If we do this, just be ready. Do you plan to go through it right away?
I was going to let my curiosity decide. I'm not sure, but if it's there, it'll be hard to resist.
I'm sure this goes without saying, but I've been to the Emerald Realm, and I've spent a lot of time there, and just be careful you don't lose yourself in it.
I've been there once or twice myself.
You have?
Well, not in person, but through various means. I've sort of looked at the place.
Scoped it out a little, yeah.
A little bit.
Being there in person might be different.
I'm sure it will be.
Just I don't want to be responsible for you being eaten by something.
You would not be responsible. I've chosen this myself. Remember, I am your senior, young lady.
I could also just not open the door.
Well, if you don't, that's fine. I won't.
Yeah,
you can go stay at the tavern then, if all I care.
Yes. Quite mature. Very well done.
Just remember, I am a seasoned wizard. I know what I'm doing. And if I don't, I will quickly shut the door and collapse it in on itself, and we'll pretend it never happened in the first place.
Until we maybe try again.
Sure.
This is a terrible idea.
This whole room, though, is a project of my enchantments. If I want, it goes away.
All right.
Lost in the vast sea of multi-dimensions, never to be accessed by anyone else ever again. Except by maybe accident, but I don't know. That's a very slim chance.
Yes.
A thimble of a chance.
If we open it and go through there, we should bring Huginn.
Should we?
Yes.
Why should we bring Huginn?
Just in case there's something horrible on the other side.
I think we can handle it.
You sure?
I'm fairly positive.
All right. Not even to have someone to, like,
Tiriel,
hold
stop stalling.
Side. Oh, fine. I'll go into it. I will, the proper way this time, sort of roll everything out. Another, like, sigil carved candle. This time with, like a sprinkling of ash in the top of it from the world tree.
Mm-hmm.
And
you mean the lapis tree?
The lapis tree. And sort of wrapped all up in its, cords and herbs and everything else. And then, rather than, like, all the, like, blood-soaked cord she used to tie the whole thing together to the Shadowfell, she does still cut her arm and wait, like, for a moment until it starts to just drip down onto her sword.
Okay.
And then does the same thing, like, activates her blade song and moves through all the movements until she finishes just as the last of that candle burns out, and just with one movement, like, through the last of the candle into the tree.
Okay.
And yeah.
Roll me d20.
Just a straight roll?
Yeah.
Not anything to it?
No.
That's a 9.
A 9?
It's a 9.
Alright. Okay. You thrust your blade into the tree, and it sort of splits open in this sort of, like, very oval-like shape. Sort of a pathway opens up. It's glowing a little bit with like a greenish sort of glow. On the other side, you can see what looks like to be the Emerald Realm. But you're not sure if the link is actually strong enough. Because it doesn't seem like you can actually pass through.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would say you need to roll above a 10 for it to be successful. Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, I guess it's just straight roll.
It's a straight roll because it's just purely based on chance.
Yeah. I'm just sort of like looking through it, like watching sort of the edges of it. It's like, not that I've done this before, but I'm not sure if we walk through this one, we'll be able to walk back out.
Then I guess we need to start again.
I guess so.
That's fine. That's the nature of these sort of things. This room probably cost me a fortune to make, but that's fine. I'll just make another one.
Sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry. You guys exit the room. She straight up collapses it as you guys exit, like just does some crazy sigil stuff, and just you hear like almost like off in the distance just this like strange sort of like yeah, just like this just imploding in on itself. And it's just a door now. And then she opens it up and it's just like a dusty broom closet. And then she's like, well, we'll try again.
I think I'm gonna go maybe buy some more supplies.
You guys attempt again. Another week later. Same thing, essentially. Okay. You can give me another roll, except this time, the DC is going to lower itself just a little bit.
Okay.
It's going to be an 8. You can roll above an 8.
Okay.
Just going to be a straight roll. It's just chance the dice.
13.
13? Okay. Yeah, this portal is successful. It opens up. It is wide enough that you guys will be able to get through and have a way back.
Okay.
So this one is it?
I think so.
Second time is the charm.
Yeah.
That's not normally the way it goes.
Sort of like clean off her arm really quick.
And do you want to go through now?
I do. Honestly, it hasn't been that long since I was in the Emerald Realm. I have no idea where in the Emerald Realm this will be.
Well, I guess let's find out then.
Should we tell anyone we're going?
I think I'll let Cora know. She performs sending. And then you guys step through. Yeah. We'll say you're not as familiar with this location of the Emerald Realm as you'd like to be, but you're fairly certain you guys step into the Summer Court.
Oh.
You step onto the shores of the Summer Court. There is I forget what it was called, like the summer
Yeah.
There are like the Summer Isles.
Yes.
Off in the distance. But you are fairly certain you're in the Summer Court based on the fact that like the sun is just bright and it's just day and it's gonna perpetually be day.
Yeah. Tiriel sort of looks at that, just like that is the absolute opposite of what it was like when I was here.
Where are we?
Probably somewhere more seasonal. I'm assuming summer.
And you're fairly certain like summer of all the courts is probably one of the most peaceful. Especially since it's a lot of like flatland. But all sorts of creatures live here. You see like you even like look off from sort of down from your vantage point because you guys are sort of like on the high point. The beach goes down and you're sort of on the high point. You just see nothing but plains stretching out. You do see some mountains. You're not sure if they're the Nevrin Mountains, like at least representatively. Yeah. Or they could be, the Worthen Mountains. You're not quite sure, but you imagine it's one of those two locations. And yeah, like it's really nice out here. It's really warm.
Nice.
Well, this doesn't seem so bad.
I'm very nervous.
I mean, we don't have to stay here long. We can.
We don't, but I don't know. Maybe Maybe a little ways.
Which direction would you like to go?
You know, this is yours. You pick a direction.
She like licks her finger, puts something there. She's acting very whimsical. Let's go ahead. You know what? No, I'll just narrate this. Nice, 17 for a wisdom check, +2. She ends up bringing you guys, in a direction. Hold on. Yeah, so you guys end up charting your way, sort of away from the mountains, but also away from the shore, sort of heading more inland. Well, I guess more towards the mountain at this point.
Sort of kind of like mountains and shore. You kind of go this way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing.
And she ends up, like, you guys end up seeing all sorts of things. You end up seeing some, centaurs, just like herds of centaurs just riding off in the distance. You guys see great birds up in the sky. You end up coming across, too, at least you see it off in the distance. You don't actually get there, but you see this giant stone structure. And that, from your study of the Emerald Realm, this sounds like the Edamaki. This sounds like the Colosseum, essentially, where the king of the Summer Court holds great festivals that every fae from every court pretty much tries to attend. And you guys get that far before you determine that you guys have been here for a long time. And you guys end up turning around and going back through the portal. But, you guys saw a lot of sights. A lot of cool things, but nothing inherently dangerous. Cool. The Summer Court, again, is probably the most peaceful of all the courts.
Tiriel wants to, like, pick up some, like, a cool rock, like, something. Just,
okay.
Like another piece of, just a little piece of the Emerald Realm.
You do that!
Color's the rock.
Pink.
Love it. It's a weird pink rock.
Yeah.
Totally keeping it. And then, just for shits and giggles, right before we leave, since we are on the same plane of existence, Tiriel's going to use sending to Oberon.
Really?
In the Dust Court. If I thought about this, I would have actually written out a message. Just because, she's... Part of her hesitance in coming here is because this place was such a, like, draw for her. And she spent so long here. And, like, that place was also her home. Like, just as much as she spent an almost equal amount of her life in the Myrwood and in the Dust Court.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And that, a significant amount of, like, her ability and power comes from, like, the things she learned there.
All your roguish training is from the Dust Court.
Yeah. And so just a message saying that, just stopped in for a visit. Didn't get close enough to say hi. But
okay. We'll figure out what the return message was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then step back through.
Yeah, you guys step back through. You essentially find a way to temporarily close it and sort of link opening it to a command phrase. So you and Calthenna both sort of work that out. And yeah, now Calthenna has a permanent portal to the Emerald Realm inside of her home. Inside of the broom closet, essentially.
Like, the second we closed the door behind us, Tira's like, I cannot believe I'm just opening this and not telling anyone about it.
Not a soul. If you do, I'll be in trouble. You'll be in trouble, and
You'll kill me.
I wouldn't kill you. We'd just both be prison mates at that point.
They wouldn't put us in the same cell. Who are you kidding?
Well, I don't think they would, but we'd be in the same prison at least.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yes, we could see each other as we walk by.
The Alliance has terrible prisons for wizards, from what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
We wizards hold a tenuous place in their heart.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if any of my people would care to break me out if I got arrested for opening portals places.
Maybe if we sort of, get you back in their good graces.
Do you think Huginn would come get us or just leave us there?
I doubt Huginn could get past any level of fortification the prison might have. But
That's true.
he could try. I think he would try.
I think we should just avoid being arrested.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've warded this room from detection. It's warding it from detection almost acts like a beacon in some sense, but there's enough magic here to sort of disguise that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping no one finds out. And if they do, of course, I will blame it all on you and say that you created it without my knowing.
Just do that after I've left.
Oh, well, of course. Oh, yes, that's right, you're leaving.
Probably, at some point. I still don't know where to.
The world is your oyster.
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 World your oyster.
So yeah, is there anything else you'd like to do? So I say we give this a little bit longer.
Uh-huh.
We find out the last thing you want to do.
Yeah. Was there anything else I was waiting to do? I fixed Miles.
You sent the staves back.
Sent the staves back.
Probably the bodies as well.
Yes.
They just had an overland transport, but
Take longer, but
Yeah.
it's...
You sort of talked with Danica and Maravir. Danica knew that there is a pretty good guy who transports things via owlbear, and they're really good. At just being defensible against monsters and things like that. So she wouldn't worry too much. She thinks it'll get to her location, barring some crazy things. But it'll be sent to Indar, which you also informed probably Simon and Barander and let them know.
Mm-hmm.
So the bodies are going back to the Merwood, and so are the staves. So you've done a lot.
Done a lot. Do a little bit of marketplace browsing. Did she get an offer both? Yes.
Yeah. Basically, whenever she gains a level, she just gains a level in Rogue and a level in being a wizard.
Yeah, simultaneously.
Yeah. She doesn't really gain any more hit dice. She just rolls a single hit dice, but we sort of combine the Rogue and the wizard hit dice to make a D10 essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's not like additive, but it still makes her tougher.
A little bit. I was still pretty weak there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do a little bit of shopping, and then I had another question for Huginn, so I could track him down at some point.
Let's ask Huginn your question.
Okay.
You do end up finding him?
Mm-hmm. Huginn,
Yes.
have you forgiven me for sending you to another realm? It's been a week or two.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that, by the way.
You've said that
A
too many
little bit.
times. I do believe you this time. And the last time.
Okay.
The time over that,
Not so much?
Not so much.
That's fair. I have a question for you.
yes.
Where are you going after all this?
Me,
Do you have somewhere you need to be?
I was going to do my best to put Sanguine and Agrahim to rest.
What's that going to require?
A trip across the sea.
You're going to go to Lamia.
Yes.
Yikes.
Like I said, my order is unique, and so we are sort of welcome places that others are not. It helps to wear the cloth. But I, of course, will still take some precaution. It won't be so easy.
Mm-hmm. I'll recount to him what I learned about the demon.
Oh, Malat.
Yes.
Okay.
Malat.
Knowing that will help, I think. Knowing that Sanguine was manipulated
Mm-hmm.
into doing whatever she did. I don't know of their father. I have his name, but I don't have his name right now.
Yeah, I have his name written down, but I'd have to find it.
Oh, Adiv. Kazan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this man will be like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping he is the reasonable sort. I'm sure he would want his kids to go to rest. At least his only heir? I don't know how they work.
Do you think they'll take kindly, or I guess, will you divulge the fact that we are responsible for...
I will
their
give him
deaths?
as much information as he needs to put them to rest. I know talking to him will be enough for Agrahim. For Sanguine, however, I'm not sure. I think only time will let her rest. And maybe not even at that. She had a lot of pain over who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a harder thing to solve. Agrahim, on the other hand, just simply wanted his father to know some things. So,
Yes, what sort of things?
the things that I will keep private.
It's worth a try. How... I don't know where I'm going after this. I don't think I can stay in Vale for much longer. I have...
Stay here at least through the winter.
It's a long time.
For you, maybe.
Well, it's really, I guess, objectively not that long for me.
It is not.
I don't know. I don't feel... I feel like I've done what I need to do here. And I don't know that I should stay much longer. Because if I stay much longer, I won't leave. And I think I have other things to do. I didn't leave the Merwood just to, I don't know, be comfortable. I would just be comfortable and lazy here.
It's not a bad way to live.
It's kind of a boring way to live.
Sure, if you look at it like that. There's always things you could do with Calthenna. You can always study the ruins and learn more about the city, of course. If that is not to your liking, then you could leave and go elsewhere. There is a big world. There are all sorts of things you can find.
If you could pick somewhere, other than Lamia, so obviously you insist on heading there, where would you go?
Honestly, I don't know. To maybe go to Acclaim.
Just like cats yelling.
Yeah. I would go to Acclaim, I think. Their cities are nice. Their people are lavish, and they are an interesting culture. Or I might go back to the Alliance. They also have an interesting people, if not a little bit hardened by their experience and culture, but there are no monsters there. It's a pretty peaceful place. A lot you can learn, people you can study with. They have plenty of wizards. Of course, you can always go to and explore more of the Riverlands. The Riverlands are big and wide, and there are all sorts of interesting things you'll find here. The people are colorful. I've been to many of the cities in the Riverlands, and they're more like lawless towns than cities. Proper cities, at least. And you will find many of my kind roaming this area. You'll see maybe how some of them operate. I don't know. You could go to Reventia, if you'd like. You could learn more about the Raven Queen. Maybe Lenelith.
Is that where you went?
That
You
is
were a
where I've
child.
studied, yes. That's where all white necromancers are from.
If I were looking sort of mad artificer who would build a spider, where do you think I would look?
The Alliance, or the Riverlands, or Gerudo. Or Acclaim. Because Acclaim purchases everything.
Interesting.
But Gerudo is the breakoff from Lamia, and they are in the business of making new things.
Interesting.
That is far south, though. That is a trip across the ocean.
It is a trip across the ocean. It's a long way. I'll think about it.
You have time. You live a long life, so you have nothing but time. Maybe don't be so rash to act, because you never know what fate has in store.
You would know. Thank you, Huginn.
You're welcome.
You were exactly where you needed to be, but you've done more than that. I appreciate that. You've kept me alive.
More than once,
Yes.
which you still owe me many drinks for.
Yes. So no running off to Lamia just yet.
I mean,
Or
I'm
you
going
have
to wait.
run back.
Going to wait for the ice to thaw.
Ice to thaw.
Yes.
It freezes over.
The ocean? No, I just don't want to travel in the winter.
Oh. Obviously I don't get much.
I mean, I'm impervious to the cold, but I'd rather stay here and relax.
Don't believe that.
This is true.
What about the heat?
I don't like the heat.
Yes.
Going to a place where it's very hot.
Yes. That sounds terrible.
I'll wear less layers.
It's like early winter at this point here.
No, I'd say it's like, well, yeah, actually, it's still sort of early winter. I mean,
Okay.
it's approaching midwinter.
Do you know how cold it gets here?
Here? Well, in this side of the Riverlands, it's not too cold. It's colder the north, more closer you get to the mountains. But it's not that bad. It snows. It will snow.
I don't like the cold. The Merwood's very sheltered. Doesn't really ever get that cold. And in the Emerald Realm, nothing really ever changes. So I definitely spent no time in the Winter Court, so years and years of nothing but ice and snow sounded terrible.
This won't be too long.
I have no idea where I'm going after this.
You have time to decide.
I have time to decide. Well, thank you.
I don't know what I did, but okay.
I'm gonna go make sure Calthenna hasn't gotten lost in the Emerald Realm.
Oh,
I really think that was a terrible idea.
it was not.
Ugh.
She's smart.
Yes, but there are other very smart things in there.
She is wise.
Oh, I'm still going to be very nervous about it.
And you are a worrywart.
Just leaves.
All right, so you as you sort of wind down your break experience from all of the crazy activity that was going on just a few weeks ago. Whoa.
You okay?
Yeah. Tiriel begins to reflect on what she might do. However, you still can't help. There is a pit in the center of your stomach. A lot like the pit in the center of your stomach when you were in Elysium. Something tells you this is wrong. And you can't help but keep recalling the message that Lindir sent you about things getting worse in the Merwood. as much as you're thinking of possible destinations, each one sort of seems like the direction you're not going to go. Each one seems like a possibility if things weren't the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
If the Merwood wasn't in the position it was in. And that's why you left. You can't help but think that your path will lead, maybe not back there, but back to their problem. Just like how it started. So, you drift off to do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Play with Miles, play with Miri, talk with Huginn, talk with Calthenna, try to get him drunk, try to get him cold. Any number of things that you try to do. And
I just picture now that, like, Tiriel and Calthenna set up, like, an elaborate trap, like, in a room of nothing but, like, ice elementals.
Totally
unnecessarily, and just to prove a point.
You spend a lot of your time hanging out in this fabulously enchanted place, doing all sorts of different things and bending the rules of reality. And it's a nice reprieve, as much as that pit in your stomach tells you that there are still things you need to tend to. For now, you at least have a little break, a little reprieve. And with that, we'll go ahead and call this the end of this session.
Okay. Short session.
Short session. We'll definitely get back to it next time. We'll probably start with a little bit of RP before we ramp it up into some cool stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We don't have any news or anything. Except just stay tuned on our Instagram for our next
schedule.
Our schedule, because it's gonna be a little hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving. I'm going back to work, so we'll see. But we will be back.
We'll have at least one more session before we move.
Yes, and that'll be the one that kicks off Tiriel's next arc.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I guess I don't have any other questions. I guess I just have some like housekeeping stuff I would have done in downtime that I didn't write down with a pencil and stuff
downtime is off camera.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys. Thanks for being here. Obviously keep an eye on our stuff, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
I went the wrong way. Maybe this one to turn it off.